the principle that the free exercise clause has always said that if the government wants to include private groups in a program, it has to include religious groups as well. It can't exclude them just because they're religious.
And Curtis, this is a big win for school choice advocates.
Yeah, it certainly is. And school choice is a big deal and getting bigger every day when you see schools not announcing their reopening. A lot of parents want school choice now. Parents who never thought about this before, because we have a lot of bureaucrats and the teachers union dragging their feet about reopening schools in September. And look, it's very clear that children suffer when they don't go to school. This online learning is a joke. It's not learning at all. And they need to, kids like to be with other kids. That's what school does. And so school choice got a big win today. Very interesting to note that, by the way, this Montana case that the Supreme Court ruled on, anti-Catholic sentiment was a big reason why they had this constitutional ban in the state constitution against Catholic schools. There was a huge anti-Catholic sentiment in this country in the last century that was the impetus for this type of ban on school choice. So I'm glad it's gone.
Yeah, it's interesting to note that distinction there, of course, as you mentioned. Peter Lamage, Curtis points out the fact that, kids and getting back to school and learning is so important right now during coronavirus. And as we've seen, people attempting to tear down statues, not even understanding who these people are. Education and learning your history is crucial now more than ever. And now it sounds like parents will have that choice to choose where to send their kids.
I think the Supreme Court reached the right decision. Parents at this point can decide as to whether they want their children to be educated in public schools, which are a complete failure. They are if you will, an entity for anti-American propaganda to a certain extent. And now we have an opportunity to educate our children properly, teach them the American history, make sure that they get it right, and make sure that the next generation of Americans do not have the hatred that this generation has for the American history, for the American culture, for the founding fathers of this country, and the Supreme Court reached the right decision. So I'm happy to hear that.
Diana, just some final thoughts from you, again, giving parents the opportunity to choose where to send their kids, including private religious schools.
Right. This is a great win for school choice, and it's also a great win for religious liberty because there's all sorts of ways that religious groups partner with the government. The court said that the anti-Catholic laws were born of bigotry. That means they violate the free exercise clause, and that is going to apply to groups, all kinds of groups that partner with the government, including homeless shelters, soup kitchens, hospitals that serve the poor. This is great news across the board.
Yeah, I know having that additional funding for scholarships is so crucial right now because that private education, it really can add up. If you're sending kids there K through 12, it does cost money. So the fact that you can now use these credits to choose where you want to send your kids, a big step forward, again, for school choice. Peter Lamage, Curtis Ellis, stick with us. Diana Verm, thank you for coming on today's program.